Road Break family, welcome to another episode of our show. Time to talk about NXT UK review of what happened this week, and the show kind of like had a new set of spoilers. They just filmed a lot of episodes. We're not going to reveal everything because that's not what we do. We're going to go episode by episode, but it seems like NXT UK also the quality is still in jeopardy. A lot of questions to be answered, but Paul, at least do you think that like this episode was better than the previous ones, or like more of the same?
Yeah, I think this episode was definitely NXT 2.0 talent involved in this. You know, we talked about some of the stuff which the booking hasn't been the greatest, and which we're going to get into, especially with this first match that we saw. But I liked some of the stuff we saw here, the matchups. Finally, we heard from the champion Ilya Dragonov. So, overall, this was a pretty good episode, decent main event. You know, so I would say this week has been better than maybe some of the past couple, but still, you know, this show could get better.
Exactly. So, family, let's start right to it. Just before everything, thank you for the love, support. You know that you guys give us all the time. I really appreciate it. Jean Paul also, like, we love that you guys are always there for us. So, like you said, the first match involves Tiger Turan. We know we've seen him. We know, we know who he is. Unfortunately, like, they gave it away just a bit, you know, like the week ago, like destroying the complete storyline that they were trying to tell us here, going against Kenny Williams. Pretty good match between the two. You know, they have chemistry. They were tag team partners before. You know, they were almost champions. So, like, the good thing and like how they tried to prolong the storyline, how they tried to make this to last a little longer, was like Tiger Turan wins the match, but then Kenny like unmasks Tiger, but then he has another mask on top of the other mask. I mean, they gave it away kind of like last week, but at least here they're trying to fix that mistake. Not quite, but at least, you know, they're trying to prolong it a bit.
Yeah, and this, I mean, the match was a great, fantastic match. I agree with you on that. But the ending, he just, you know, I forget if he hit his finisher or what he did, but he, you know, slams Turan on the mat. He's pretty much talking to him like, you're bullshit, whatever. And, you know, just instead of pinning the guy, keeps yelling at him. Turan just grabs him, 1, 2, 3, you know, roll up, done. And then, like you said, pulls off the mask, gets a fake one, pulls it off, it's another one. He has like 3 masks on. We don't see his face, but you touched on it earlier, and we complained about it last week in the review. They buried it by saying, "Oh, you're Amir Jordan." Well, that buries the whole storyline. So yeah, I mean, it was a great match, but you know, we don't care about it as much as you know, unfortunately.
Yeah, like you said, like, you know, like Tiger Turan, like they should have been like they need already to give us like the whole thing, you know, like.
And Kenny Williams needs new theme music. He still comes out with his babyface theme music. He needs new entrance music.
Oh yeah, it's true. You know, like they little things that like can give us, like, you know, that's those details that like get you involved in the story. Unfortunately, they're not really doing that. You can tell that there's been changes on NXT UK. Shawn Michaels is not there anymore. The people from Progress, that company, that British company, is the one that are running most of the show. So you can tell that there's been a little bit of like a decay on like this, on how they're running things. But like you said, in the end, mask on top of the mask, the storyline is going to continue. They need to have the match really quick now, so finally Amir can say, "Oh yeah, I'm back." Whatever, but we'll see what happens next fall. Next match, you know, Josh Morell, we got to see him like he's been a jobber for most time of his career in NXT UK. But hey, maybe the jobber is going to start actually winning matches. Maybe the jobber is going to start, you know, being more prominent in what it is NXT UK, going against Primate. And, you know, this is just like this poor guy, you know, it's singles, tag, every single time he gets, you know, the lowest end of the stick, and Josh Morell gets the win. He's even, you know, he's more surprised than we are. So there you go. That can tell you the whole thing. So, Paul, at least, hey, this guy might receive a singles push, or maybe this will be the beginning for something different for him.
Yeah, I mean, what have we been saying? Josh Morell's so good. He always hangs in there in every match, but he never wins. We said this guy, he has so much talent. It's coming sooner than later. And here it is. You know, he gets his first win. And Primate, I mean, all those guys are a lost cause. I mean, let's be honest. Really, like, nobody cares about any of them from Symbiosis. They've been booked like shit. Use him to get this guy over. I was fine with it. He hit like a Canadian Destroyer or Code Red, whatever you want to call it. You know, 1, 2, 3, he got the pin. And this was good. And, you know, we got to see what they do with Josh Morell. And, you know, one thing to touch on, too, before we get into the next match, we saw a promo with Trent Seven. He was backstage. He was bitching to security. "Oh, you know, why you let a fan grab me? This is ridiculous." Sam Gradwell comes up to him. He's like, "Dude, what you did to Trent Seven and the fan. I'm not Trent Seven. What you did to Tyler Bate and the fan. He's like, that's bullshit, and that's coming from a guy like me. And he's like, a guy like you is a loser, so jog off. And then I love the attitude from Trent Seven, and this hints at, you know, the
next rivalry between the two. We're going to talk about this
see.
in a little more depth, in just a little bit. But like you said, at least a good promo by. They have to make him a huge heel here, because you know what we know later, what's going to happen. You know, in the title picture, you know, that has to be involved Trent Seven in some kind of fashion also. And this is going to be, for example, a story that is going to like tangle with another story. But like you said, really great promo right there by Trent Seven. And like you said before, we get to see a promo by Ilya Dragunov. And finally, you know what, 3-4 weeks without hearing from the champion. And, you know, he says that he wants to have a match against Wolfgang, defend the NXT UK Championship against Wolfgang. This bothered me. Why? Because Wolfgang has not won more than one match. What is so special about him? He's not in that, you know, number one contender spot by any means. So why would you have a match with him? Just because nobody else is ready? Well, how do you feel about this? Because for me, I wasn't really thrilled about like this story.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that like, oh, Wolfgang doesn't deserve it, or Wolfgang, you know, whatever. I wouldn't talk shit on him too much, but I do agree with you. He's not the number one contender, at least in my eyes. I said Von Wagner just because they had a bunch of 2.0 guys, but we saw he's already back on 2.0, so clearly that's not going to happen. And I think they just threw this match together because, like they said, if people are injured, people are in other storylines, this and that, whatever.
Like you said, there was a lot of guys that went to NXT 2.0.
Yeah, and I mean, this match will be good, I think, but I mean, we all know who's going to win, I think. You know, whether you read the spoilers or not, you know, Ilya Dragunov's not going to drop this thing, but this promo was okay. Again, another promo. You look in his eyes, you can tell he's reading a cue card. This isn't coming from his head, so it doesn't feel as legit. It doesn't feel as natural, but, you know, a promo that did feel real and natural. You know, we saw Blair Davenport. She got there and Amel came right in her face and said, hey, what's going on here? Why did you say about, you know, the hope? Why, you know, was that a shot at me? She's like, no, it's a shot.
I remember.
She's like, it's a shot at everybody. But if you get in my face like that again, you know, I will destroy all your hope. And then she walked away. And then you saw, who was it? Stevie Turner came out.
Yes.
And then she got in Amel's face and she's like, haha, do you get it? Blah, blah, blah. And then Amel was like, why don't you get out of my face before I kick your ass, you know, or do you think that's funny? So, the attitude is there. She treats it all legit. She gets in Blair Davenport's face. What's your deal? Why are you talking shit? Gets in Stevie Turner's face. I mean, Amel's legit, and I think she's going to beat Stevie Turner. And I think it's going to be her.
No-brainer.
And I think it's going to be her and Blair Davenport. And then I think you're going to do Amel and Blair Davenport, and that's got to be your number one contender.
Yes.
Yeah, whoever wins that match.
At least is something incredible. You know, something that I can get behind that feud. Like you said, Amel, huge baby face right now. She cannot go against Meiko because two baby faces, but at least Blair Davenport could be like that. Push that she needs, that final step to the final boss. So that will be good. At least, you know, her return, Blair Davenport's return is gonna like make the division a little better because again, you know, no more Danny Luna, no more Kaylee Ray, you know, girls that like were there to like make the division. Also, no, we say every single week. Hopefully, she watches Eva Valkyrie. Where are you? What's going on? You know, we don't really know what happens with you. Let's talk about Trent Seven, like you said, because he had a match. It was really quick. Like he go against, you know, one of the jobbers right there. He went against Tate Mayfairs, and you know, Trent Seven just beat the crap out of him. You know, very big heel. You know, very important, like imposing himself, imposing conditions. That's what you got to do. New attitude from Trent Seven. And what does like a heel do when he has an easy victory? Of course, it's a post attack, but this type of post attacks make sense because you're just pissed off at the world. You're just showing a new attitude. And like you said before in the segment that we saw with Sam Gradwell, he comes out. So right there, you guys are going to have the first match here. And I feel, of course, Trent Seven will get the win. But at least Gradwell and him going against each other is going to be good. It's going to be a good match.
Yeah, and, you know, I like this. And, yeah, you saw Trent Seven was kind of he was dominant in this match, toying with him. And, you know, Mayfairs kicks out of a move. He gets pissed, big 7-star lariat, then like a figure 4 afterwards. And, you know, I mean, this is a great feud because they turned Gradwell into a really popular babyface. He's super over, and they're really trying to get Trent Seven over as a heel. And I think it's working. I think I'm not saying he's as over as Roman, but I think he's in the spot and Roman where it's like he's a heel and you're booing him, but really you're like, okay, he's good at being a heel, and we respect
Yes.
that, and he's legit. We don't like
Yes.
legit hate him, like a Baron Corbin. That's a heel who you actually hate.
Like good hate. So
Yeah,
there's type of like a word. Like, we can actually say good hate because like you really hate the guy because he's despicable. He does things that like piss you off. It's not like you said, like Happy Corbin. This is one you hate him because he sucks.
Yes,
Trent Seven, let's hope, like I said, involving the title picture into this, involving like making him like the founding father, like he always says.
Yeah, you would think that's where he has to go. From this, beat Sam Gradwell, boom, Ilya Dragunov. You think that's where he's going to have to go?
No-brainer right there, easy, quick, and then that way, he can finally, through this heel turn, be the champion that he's always wanted to be. So Paul, we're going to see next week. This is going to be a good match, and I hope that Noam Dar retains, because I don't want to see Mark Coffey as the Heritage Cup champion. Not because he's not a good wrestler, but again, no charisma, nothing out of the ordinary. He's just a regular wrestler. And for me, Noam Dar has more character, charisma. There's a persona right there. There's a complete guy that like is a good wrestler, but at the same time can make me laugh with the jokes and everything. And he deserves to retain that Heritage Cup. I mean,
Noam Dar
gives a lot of relevance to the cup. And with Shaw Samuels, all the promos, like the Supernova sessions, there's a lot of elements for him to make him feel like the champion. Whereas like Mark Coffey, I don't know what you can do. You don't even have enough heels in the division to like go against him. So hopefully he retains.
I mean, besides I think the two main champions, all the champions on this brand, I think are, they're going to be a mess. I mean, maybe all of them will be soon. We don't really know, but I think they're going to put the cup. They're going to give it to Mark Coffey here. Noam Dar hasn't felt the same in a long time. I'm going to say since, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. It's just, I don't know if somebody's writing his script for him, for his promos, his segments, any of his camera time is being written by somebody and not from his own mouth. But, he just doesn't feel legit. He doesn't have that same charisma, I don't think. Shaw Samuels is all about betting money now. That's his new gimmick. So that's totally a Vince thing to be like, over-exaggerate the guy's gimmick, make it over the top and stupid, when before him and Shaw Samuels were realistic. And I think that's why they really got over. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do the switch here.
I really hope that they don't. That would really piss me off. Talking about the next match, this is going to be good because, again, there's like the Familia with Tio-Man, with, Raja, with also Dempsey. They're trying to recruit. They're trying to, like, help Oliver Carter to just become one of them. And he refuses because he's like, hey, I'm good. I'm single. I'm waiting for my partner to come back. And this is a good feud for these guys. I feel this is going to be a good match. But here, Tio-Man gets the upper hand because he has help. Rather, Oliver doesn't have it.
And this was a good segment. They get up in his face. They're like, Ashton Smith, he's, the reason you're not a champion anymore because he's bullshit. He got hurt. He said, hey, don't talk about my partner when he's not here to defend himself. That's bullshit. And don't talk about him in front of me thinking I'm not going to do anything about it. So how about I kick all your asses one-on-one? He's like, and then Raja steps up. Tio-Man says, I take care of my family. I'm going to go against him. So this is good. This along with the ML segment, this all felt organic. It felt like legit. Like, okay, this feels like wrestling. This doesn't feel like sports entertainment. This feels okay. They walked up to this guy. It wasn't goofy. It wasn't ha-ha. It wasn't tongue-in-cheek. So this was good. I'm looking forward to this. But yeah, Tio-Man's got to get the win. It sucks that they're not the tag team champions. They should be. And speaking of that, we saw a segment, Briggs and Jensen, Pretty Deadly. Hopefully Pretty Deadly wins the belts and comes back because they're in dire need of
I
a tag
absolutely
team.
agree with you, Paul, because there's a lot of NXT UK needs some guys. For the guys that don't know, we know that Jordan Devlin, now he's on NXT 2.0. He attacked Braun Breaker after they were in American
Yeah, what's
Bash.
it, JD McDonough or something
Yeah,
like that?
McDonough, something like, we're not even going to mention JD, that's a different, a different doofus right there.
Well, at least JD is Jordan Devlin. At least it makes sense.
I think with that JD we do care and appreciate, and that like A-Kid is going to be Akio-Man is going to be a mathematician on NXT 2.0. So like bye-bye A-Kid, bye-bye, Jordan Devlin, two guys that like, were pretty much number one contenders for the title, for Heritage Cup, for the NXT UK Championship. So like here, Tio-Man, Dempsey, Raja, they have the opportunity. Imagine all of them holding gold. That would be really cool, and that will establish the Familia as like the main force in the NXT UK brand. We'll see what happens. So like I said, those are going to be the matches we're going to see next week. So now let's focus into like the main event. Eliza, Alexander, Xia Brookside against Meiko, Satomura, and Sarray. this is the best that I've seen from Sarray, just because, alongside with Meiko, she actually has legitimacy. She feels important. This is good. And, Brookside and Eliza, they're heels, but like whether they win or they lose, it doesn't really matter. And that's the thing, because I don't see Zaya ever fighting for a championship ever again, and Eliza is actually the powerful force right there. So I'm assuming this could be the roles will reverse at some point, and Eliza become like the main figure, and Zaya is just there. Unfortunately, Sarray, at least here in NXT UK, she feels a little bit special rather than just a Cosmo girl on cosplay girl on NXT 2.0.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like this, and I've been saying it too. I said hopefully this can be something that she can come here. Okay, this is a fresh start. It can be legit. It's not the bullshit of NXT 2.0. And I thought this was good. She looked good. Obviously, Meiko's legit. Meiko doesn't do anything stupid. She doesn't do anything goofy. Anytime she's in the ring, it's serious. And Eliza Alexander, I think she's better every time we see her. She's good. Sorry, Brookside's not bad. She's not the greatest wrestler. She won't let you down. She's good in there. But I do agree with you. I don't see her being a number one contender. This was just a match to get these two over. Commentary was really saying how great Sarray, Meiko, Satomura is. And I mean, Sarray, I don't know if she hurt Mandy Rose with that drop kick she does? I mean, it really looks like she lays that drop kick in there. I don't think
she broke her nose or anything, but I remember partially injure her.
Yeah, because Mandy had the face mask on or whatever. But yeah, I mean, she really hit that on Zaya Brookside's. At least Zaya sold it like she got hit with a shotgun. And then Meiko came in, big Scorpio kick. 1, 2, 3, got the pin there. And, baby faces win, and this is good. The Japanese connection, whatever you want to call them, Kabuki Warriors 2.0. No, please don't do that. But, they get the win here. And, this is just going to add tension to Amelia McKenzie. She's going to be like, hey, what about me?
Yes. And see, that you can squeeze a fuse right there until Blair Davenport and the Mill are done with their business. So then, you can have this in the middle feud for that championship, and then maybe have finally Davenport against Meiko 3.
Yeah, or you could even do something where maybe Blair sees this and goes, hey, Amelia, why don't you help me and screw Meiko and help me win the title. She abandoned you, so why don't you help me? So we could see something here. So at least like we said, overall I would say this episode, at least it did more to get us excited because it was all NXT UK.
There was no more 2.0.
There was no 2.0 invasion, no Lash Legend, none of them. So this was good.
No Von Wagner, no Kemp, all of those guys, like you said, absolutely right. So family, thank you so very much for everything that you do for us. We'll be back with more NXT UK. There will be more content also coming your way. Don't forget, we will have maybe Impact, we will have maybe AEW. There's always a lot of pay-per-view. SummerSlam is around the corner also. So Ric Flair's last match, that pay-per-view, the card seems to be really stuck, so we will be talking about all of that. Family, Nature Boy, he might be dead, but no, we will not wish that upon anybody. Family, thank you so very much. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and where can they find us?
And follow us, Rope Break, on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
And you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...